Thank you, everyone, for subscribing to Infinitely Productions. If you have not done so, please click the bell and subscribe, and we hope you enjoy our content.
Only 3 of the alleged co-conspirators were in court today. Alleged La Casa Nostra faction leader Harry Riccobene, plus Vincent Isabella and Joseph Casdia. Victor DeLuca remains at Graterford Prison for other crimes. Mario Riccobene is in a Connecticut prison. They'll all be brought in late April when the preliminary hearing finally comes off. Judge Mitchell Lipschutz continued the case because of the 2 absent defendants and the questions about possible conflicts of interest for defense lawyer Charles Peruto Jr., who now represents Harry Riccobene, but who in the past did some defense work for the DA's star witness, Joseph Padula, the convicted organized crime triggerman who has turned informant. Padula is ready to finger the other defendants in all of this with conspiracy or attempting to murder at least 5 of Philadelphia's top reputed mob figures, including Nicodemus Scarfo and Salvatore Testa. In May 1982, Frank Monti, a leading mob figure, was murdered. Salvatore Testa was critically wounded in the summer of '82. Assistant District Attorney Arnold Gordon outlined the case they plan to prove.
In connection with that conspiracy, they surveilled the movements of Frank Monti and Raymond Martirano. That Isabella supplied the men with a .45 caliber machine gun, 22 caliber rifle with a scope, other guns. That on the day of Frank Monti's killing, Monti was watched by Harry Riccobene, Joseph Casdia, Victor DeLuca, and Joseph Padula, and that eventually Padula shot Monti about 8 times as he returned to his automobile. That Casdia drove the camper from which Padula had shot away from the scene of the shooting.
He is pleading not guilty, he is not guilty, and the time will come when all of that will out.
You don't believe Padula can finger him?
It's my belief that Padula is intending to do that. Whether or not a jury will believe Padula is the important factor here to be considered.
The explosive testimony of mob hitman Joseph Padula is now due to be heard in open court on April 24th. At that time, all the defendants will be in court to face their accuser, who was once their alleged co-conspirator and triggerman. Vernon Odom, Channel 6 Action News at City Hall.
Somebody was holding everybody up the other night. Saturday night. You got 4.
Can't believe it, man.
When we went to the back, we saw her trying to grab at the figure that was on the ground of her, I guess her son or whatever it was, and we could see, looking in the yard beside it, broken off shotgun.
Sawed-off shotgun?
Sawed-off shotgun.
Driver hadn't gotten in yet.
Philadelphia homicide detectives say Robert Riccobene was bringing his mother home from a shopping trip at about 10 o'clock last night. 73-year-old Jean Riccobene is Harry the Hunchback Riccobene's stepmother and was living in Harry's southwest Philadelphia home while he serves time in a federal prison on a racketeering conviction. As Jean Riccobene and her son Robert got out of this blue car last night, police say the Riccobenes saw 2 men approach them with a sawed-off shotgun. The Riccobenes apparently tried to flee, but the gunman caught up with them in a next-door neighbor's backyard. At that point, neighbors tell me they heard a shot ring out. Dolores Pisano tells me she came outside when she heard Gene Riccobene's screams.
I said to her, "Can I help you in any way?" And she says, "No, my son, he's shot. And then I heard her say to the policeman then finally came, and she said to the police, "Please help me." She says, I tried to catch him. I stopped him from shooting him, but he wouldn't stop. He just shot him anyhow, dropped the gun and ran.
Officials say Robert Riccobene was shot at close range in the back of the head. His mother was slightly injured when the butt of the shotgun hit her in the face. Investigators believe this is just one more incident in the mob war that began when Angelo Bruno was murdered. Certain law enforcement officials tell Action News this hit was not unexpected. Riccobene was warned, in fact, that his life was in danger. I'm Robin Garrison, Channel 6 Action News in Southwest Philadelphia.
Jewelers Row was bustling with holiday business today, but merchants on the block remained jumpy. This closed jewelry store was a reminder of yesterday's suicide by 27-year-old Enrico Riccobene, the nephew of reputed mob figure Harry Riccobene, whose faction is currently at war with other segments of South Philadelphia's trigger-happy underworld. Police sources tell me that Enrico, who owned this store, the place where he shot himself yesterday afternoon, had no apparent business connections with the crime syndicate. But police sources tell me Enrico was frightened and had been told by lawmen as well as mob figures that he was a potential target for a hit. Just 9 days ago, his uncle, Robert Riccobene, known by police to be involved in mob gambling activities, was assassinated. Enrico Riccobene's father, Mario, and Mario's brother, Harry, are in prison now. And though Enrico is said to be clean, his bloodline apparently made him a marked man. Few merchants would talk about the latest Riccobene to die.
He seemed like a gentleman and a young man minding his own business, and that's all I can say at this time. I don't want to say too much more.
The theory by authorities is this guy was intimidated to death, that he operated a clean business.
I wouldn't have know anything about his business.
Police are certain that the pressure, stress, and danger of being a Riccobene these days was too much for Enrico, even if his business was not the business that made other members of his family so infamous. Vernon Odom, Channel 6 Action News, on Jewelers Row.
It happened at about 7:10 last night. Patrons of the Brooklawn Diner noticed a car in the parking lot, its engine racing red hot and smoke pouring from it.
Nobody wanted to go really up close because the car was like smoking and making a lot of noise.
And the underneath of it was red? Like
It was red. It was red because the guy's foot was in the accelerator. So I don't know how long he was in there.
Inside the station wagon was the body of a man, his head bent forward. He had been shot in the head. Bullet casings were found at the scene, and today investigators returned to search for the gun, but none was found. The man's driver's license was reportedly issued in North Carolina. Police have a tentative identification, but have not yet released it. 60-year-old Mario Sonny Riccobene, a one-time member of the Bruno Scarfo organized crime family, has been identified as the man murdered last night in the parking lot of the Brooklawn Diner. Riccobene had been shot several times in the head as he sat in this parked station wagon. The driver's side window shattered by gunfire. Riccobene's foot on the accelerator, the engine running red hot.
Given the circumstances of the killing, we are obviously investigating an organized crime connection.
Riccobene had been in the federal witness protection program from 1984 until '89, when, according to the FBI, he was kicked out for habitually violating security procedures. Riccobene returned to live in rural Gloucester County with his elderly mother.
I have to tell you, my experience has been that some people in the witness protection program do very foolish things.
Riccobene is the half-brother of Harry the Hunchback Riccobene, who is serving time for the 1982 murder of Frank Monty. In '84, Sonny Riccobene began cooperating with police against other mobsters, including his half-brother, and at that time entered witness protection. Last night's murder here in Brooklawn came 3 weeks after another murder in Audubon, New Jersey. In that case, a reputed West Coast gang enforcer, Rod Colombo, was shot in the head as he sat in a parked car.
We're looking at the similarities, but we have no reason other than those circumstantial similarities to think that they're connected at this point.
While Riccobene was no longer in the federal witness protection program, law enforcement officials kept tabs on him. They knew where he was. Obviously, Riccobene's enemies also knew where to find him. I'm Kathy Gandolfo, Channel 6 Action News, Camden, New Jersey.
Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to our channel and check out more of our content. Feel free to give your feedback and suggestions on what we should do next in the comments. This is Infinite Lee Productions. We love ya.